YouTube, how are you guys? We don't know because we can't actually ask you that in person. Welcome to another week of Shut Up and Poetry. I'm your host, and she's your host, and we host together sometimes.
Every time.
Every time. I'm As He Says, this is Salah Khan. We're here to bring you awesome poetry, and with Matt just around the corner, we wanted to give you another poet that you will see there. Her name is Honey.
Honey.
And she's on
Team Snow.
Snow. And she has a beautiful piece on hatred. That's kind of weird to say.
Yep.
Beautiful piece on hatred. Check out her poem. It's amazing.
My grandparents were sharecroppers in rural Mississippi. They grew hatred in 200 rows that were 5 miles long, and then marveled at how their fingers became stained with it. They carried it home on their back in sacks that often weighed more than the malnourished children who carried them. Then my grandmother, only 5 feet tall, would stand at her stove and stir it into the conversations that fed her family. My aunts and uncles set it on the table as the main dish aside oppression and discontent. My grandfather sprinkled it liberally into after-dinner cocktails that small ears would sneak and listen to. My parents never set out to become bigots. They simply followed in the footsteps of the only examples they had. It is easy, after all, to blame their parents. How could they have been good and attentive with no less than 14 mouths to feed and bodies to clothe and wages weighed out on weighted scales? See, hatred was the only meal supplement they had that would make their sons grow as strong as the spinach they couldn't steal from their landlord's stores. You want to know why Black people can't get past what was done to them? Why they still hold on to slavery and can't let go of Jim Crow? It's because hate is a messy thing.
Let's go.
You can't throw it at others without first getting some on yourself. And when you are as poor as Mississippi sharecroppers, your bones tend to catch and hold on to anything that will stick. So what looks like family enterprise from the outside is really just the quagmire of slavery bowing under the burden of need. See, hatred will always taste like cabbage water soup to me. We'll leave the illusions of full stomachs, but like chitlins, this is not a meal you should digest daily. But when you are as poor as Mississippi sharecroppers, you'll hold your nose and swallow whatever shit gets you to the next moment.
Let's go.
My grandparents acquired the taste. It still holds on to my grandmother's curtains. It walks down a dusty dirt road with my grandfather in his best Sunday suit. They have left it in their will like tie pins and pearls that my parents will one day try to pass down to me. And 3 generations later, I still have to remind them that hate is not a seasoning I will ever get accustomed to on my soul's food. After all, they taught me that you are what you eat.
Okay, so like I said, beautiful piece on hatred.
Beautifully.
What did you take away from this?
So, to me, this piece was about how to fight or how to end or how to fix, how do we work on racism, being racism in our society. And I love that she talked about hatred because we don't really hear that a lot. Like lately we've been hearing a lot of truth and a lot of stories from Black people's perspective, and the media's been getting a lot of attention because of the police officers mistreating people of color. But I love that she focused on her family and how hatred was passed down to generations. And the way I think of it is, it's kind of like having a relationship with someone. It goes both ways. So if the other side is doing everything they can to become aware, to recognize their privilege, to not feel guilty, and realize that they cannot know your experience and do everything they can on their part, if the other side is still being hateful, then we're never going to progress as a society.
I think that's what sets this poem apart. Because you hear, I mean, there's a lot of Black experience poems, but this is coming from a kind of generations later after slavery, like what that looks like for us now. And she touches on this like so well about this hatred being passed down from generation to generation, almost like this thing that you inherit. She has this line about it like being passed down in the will. It's so true, because if you for Honey, this experience is like really messy, and it's complicated, and it's coming from her family. It's not like, you know, she may have experiences in her life now where she's like, you know, a lot of her friends aren't black, or you know, aren't just, she only has like this black experience to pull from. You know, for her, that hatred is kind of inherited by her family. Like it's whatever they exude on her, and it's sticking, and she's just acknowledging like this, like we're not going to change things if we keep ingesting this hatred. And I love that line. It's like, you are what you eat. Like, if we just keep perpetuating this hatred, it's just like you said, like nothing is going to get better.
Cabbage water.
Cabbage water, yeah, this cabbage water hatred. It just, you're right. You have to have like both sides kind of contributing to making the situation better. And there's been a lot of, you know, like there's been a lot of progress, but there's still so much work that has to be done on both sides. And so I love that she brings that to light in a way that I think only she can, you know, with her experience, with her heritage, with her family's experiences. So that's Honey. She is an amazing poet that's going to be at Nationals in a week. So if you guys are in Oakland, come check out Team Snow. They are a phenomenal team. They're going to bring the fire. And Honey will be there, and she may even do this piece live. So stay tuned. We'll have another poet for you after Nationals. But stay tuned. Check out our other videos to see more poets that'll be at Nats. And we'll see you guys soon for another episode of Shut Up and Poetry. Like our page, like our Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr. And we'll see you then.
Bye.
And don't eat hatred. It's bad for you.
It's messy.
It'll destroy your insides.
Be clean.
Blah. Bye.
Shut up.
And poetry.